Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to continue the lectures on parami, and today I am going to talk a very interesting topic based on macharia and danabirati. Macharia means stinginess, inability to offer things. Danabirati means being delightful in offering. One who has macharia is unable to make the donations, because the characteristic of macharia is disliking others taking use of your own requisites. So what happens is, now when macharia is present, for example, if I am going to offer this cup, for instance, if I am going to offer this cup, and if I have macharia towards this, I don't like anyone else to use it. So after my donation, what happens is, the person who receives this cup will be able to use it at his will, as he or she wants. So macharia is against this idea. It doesn't like to see that happen. Therefore, a person is unable to offer when there is macharia. So when one has macharia, I'll repeat it again, the person doesn't like to see others enjoying his own requisites. So after donation, the receiver has the right to enjoy with the donation as he or she likes. So macharia doesn't want to see that. Now, sometimes this is more obvious in Bodhisattva's life. He has to offer anything that can be offered. It even includes his wife and children. So macharia would be very difficult, would make him very difficult to offer the wife, for example, if he loves the wife very much, because after offering, the wife can live a family life with the person to whom she offered her. So if the person has strong attachment towards the wife, that macharia can arise easily. So therefore, more valuable, more attached you are to the thing, it's very difficult to give up. And that thought of not disliking others using your own requisites or property is called macharia, is against dana. Then Buddha also mentioned in the Dana Sutta of Iti Vuttaka Pali Dana Sutta, he mentioned that if the living beings know the benefits of dana as I do, they will not eat anything without sharing. And he gave a simile. For example, now there is a plate of food, plate of rice that I have for my hunger to be eaten. Then I give lumps of rice to everyone who comes, one to each. And I just keep one for myself. While I'm going to eat that lump of rice, another beggar comes. If there is someone else that can be fed, Buddha said, if people knows the benefits of dana as I do, he would not eat it without sharing. So therefore, what does he want to say? If beings know the benefits of dana as I do, macharia will not be able to overcome their mind. So to overcome the macharia, one should contemplate the benefits of dana. So there's a nice story about this macharia. During the while the Buddha was alive, there was a village called Sakkara near Rajagaha. And there was a very rich man named Kosiya, and he didn't give anything to anyone. He was very stingy. And one day he had a strong appetite or a desire to eat cakes. Made with oil, and then he thought, if I am to make this cake in the down stories, people would get the smell and they would come for asking cakes. He didn't even want that to happen. So he thought to his wife, I need cakes and we'll cook it in the topmost floor of the building, of his house. And they were cooking cakes in the topmost building. Fortunately, on that morning, Buddha, while checking the world, finding out to whom he should help that day, this Kosiya and his wife appeared to his vision, and he saw that they had the potency to become enlightened, to become stream enterers, sotapannas, in that very day. But he knew macharia was hindering or obstructing his growth. Obviously, a person with such stinginess would never be able to attain sotapannahood. Then he instructed Moggallana, who was the foremost in psychic powers, and said, bring them to Jetavana monastery, but they were living near Rajagaha, 45 yojans away from where the Buddha was, and bring them, and I'm waiting with the Sangha to eat oil cakes, so they can offer me oil cakes. Then Moggallana was sent. Moggallana knew what was the Buddha's intention, and he knew that the rich man was very stingy. And he flew there with his psychic powers, having taken a patta on his hand, and he stood in front of the window of the upmost story and looking at the wife and the Kosiya who were cooking the oil cakes. And he was showing a gesture of expecting alms round. Then what happened was, seeing Moggallana's standing in the sky in front of the window, Kosiya said him to leave. Go away. There's no food here for you. But Moggallana kept on staying there. Then he thought, okay, this monk is like waiting, accepting food, and he is not going to leave. So it's better that we make a small cake for him and offer him. So at least he will leave, having got something. Then he asked his wife to make a cake, having put little bit of dug. Dug means flour, little bit of flour, and white color, like wheat, like flour. Then even though she put a little bit of flour into it, the cake expanded, filling the entire pan. So it was the biggest cake that she was making. Then he thought his wife has put more flour. He took away the bigger oil cake, and then he himself put a little bit of dug into it, and this also became a larger cake. How much little flour they put, the cake was expanding, filling the entire pan. And he was like fed up with this now. It's whatever. Whenever you put little bit of dug, it becomes bigger. Then he told the wife, okay, give him one cake from the basket that she has already cooked, the cake basket, and ask him to, then he will leave. So when she tried to take one cake out of the basket, the all basket cakes were stuck together as a one ball, and she couldn't separate anything from the group. So they were trying to do that. By this time, what happened? Kosiya lost his appetite to eat cakes. Then he said to the wife, okay, offer the entire basket to this monk, and they offered the whole basket. So then after he offered with his wife the entire basket to Moggallana, Moggallana gave him a Dhamma talk saying the benefits of charity, and he was pleased. And he also informed him how Buddha is waiting their arrival at the Jetavana monastery with 500 monks. And then Moggallana took them with his psychic powers, and they offered cakes to the Buddha and the Sangha. At the end of the meal, Buddha preached the Dhamma, gave Dhamma, delivered the Dhamma talk, at the end of which they both became Sotapannas. So this is a very nice story about macharia, because when he's termed in our literature as the macharia Kosiya. The macharia Kosiya, the stingy Kosiya. It's not a nice title, but in the end he became a Sotapanna. And this is a story which says that when stinginess is there, people are unable to give up things and offer to others. So then but also we need to understand that reluctance to give something is not always macharia. Okay, there's another very nice story which happened to Venerable Uppalavanna, a female nun who was an arahant and who was the second chief disciple of the Buddha. So who was the second chief disciple of the Buddha, female disciple actually, nuns. And it's a nice story. She was once meditating in a forest, and she was very beautiful actually. She was a very beautiful, attractive nun. And she didn't want to live a family life, and parents wanted them to her to marry, but many were asking for her hand, and father felt a little bit pressurized because kings like princes were asking for her to get her married. So she was so much attractive. And in the end, but she didn't have the intention of living a family life. She was very spiritual, and she ended up being a nun in our Buddha Sasana and became a arahant who was the foremost in psychic powers among the nuns. And she was meditating alone in a monastery. And also there's a story in which she was, very unfortunately, she was raped by one of her lay life cousins. That's why after that Buddha laid down the rule that nuns are not supposed to live alone in forests. They cannot stay alone by themselves. They'll always have to there has to be another nun. At least 2 nuns should be there. So anyway, she was meditating once alone. This was before that incident. And while she was meditating, a group of rogues, thieves, were walking on that path. And the chief thief saw Uppalavanna, and he had respect towards her. He respected this theory because he has seen her before. And he thought, if my other fellows see this beautiful nun, they will surely disturb her. So she can get into some trouble. So then what he did was, before his followers see him, he changed the path because he wanted to protect. He didn't want his followers to harm her. And he was having some bag of meat with him. He tied it on the tree, saying that whoever samana, whoever recluse sees this first, this belongs to her or him. And he went away. And Uppalavanna emerged from the meditation, and while she emerged, she heard this sound, what he was saying. And then he came, and because the thieves went in a different way, she collected the food. She collected the food. Bag of meat actually, okay? Bag of meat. A bag of meat. Yeah, then because the food, even though it was not offered to her hand, food collected by a nun can be given to a monk. And also she was going to offer it to Buddha, so it was not necessary to be to get it offered. So she collected the food from the tree, and she went to Buddha, and she wanted to offer it to the Buddha. At that time, Uday was there. Buddha had left the monastery, and she offered the meat to the Buddha, to Uday, saying that please offer this to the Buddha. Then at that time, Venerable Uday said something which is very unsuitable. She said, okay, you have given something to the Buddha and satisfied him. Because if you give something, we feel happy, right? But you are not satisfying me. You don't give anything to me. Okay. So she was like, she felt a bit complex, because puzzled, because what he was asking for. Then what do you want? Then he said, I wish to nothing else. I wish to get your under robe. That was his request. It was a very bad request. I want to get the under robe, because we wear a robe beneath the main robe, right? Because his intention was, whenever she takes it out, he will be able to see her body. That was his intention. It was a very bad intention. Uppalavanna felt and understood what he was asking for, and she said, very sorry, I am unable to give you this because we as bhikkhunis don't get robes very often. Therefore, it's very difficult for us to find robes. So don't ask for this, I am unable to give you. But Uday kept on insisting, and she couldn't resist. In the end, she took the robe and gave, but she made it sure that Uday would not see her body, and she did it with his psychic powers, her psychic powers. So Uday couldn't see her body because she was very beautiful. That was his intentions, and he got the robe. Later on, knowing this, Buddha laid down a rule saying that monks cannot accept robes from a bhikkhuni directly. Right? That was from a non-related bhikkhuni directly. That led to a rule actually. Yes, so this was the incident which took place. So then the point here is, she refused to donate her robe. Now, is this macharia? This is the question. And she is an arahant, she was an arahant who had already eradicated not only macharia, all the other defilements in her mind. And there was a reluctance of her to give the robe. Was it because of macharia? No. Few reasons. Because she knows, if I donate this, I will not be able to, because this is a very essential requisite that I have, she has. Because as a monk or nun, you cannot live without robes, right? So if she offers this robe, she has to find another new robe. There's a big problem for her, given the situation those days. These days, yes, we can find it in our stores and we can easily get a robe from the monasteries or from the devotees. But those days, clothes were very rare. Therefore, it was not easy, especially for a nun, to obtain such a robe. That was her argument as well. It's not easy for us to get robes, so I'm not able to offer you. So this was the reason that led her to refuse the improper invitation made by Venerable Uday. So and also it was an improper invitation. She knew the intentions of Uday. That's why she made it sure that he doesn't see her body. It is improper invitation. So when we see such improper invitations, and also if someone is asking that something that I am unable to give up due to whatever reason, reluctance to offer is not macharia. So always we have to keep in mind, macharia is when you are capable of giving something normally. Sometimes we are unable to donate it because we are capable of donating. For example, that story of that rich man, it was nothing for him to donate cakes, right? He could easily donate things. So while we are capable of donating, still we cannot give up. And we feel very bad of giving up certain things. This is macharia. I know if someone asks some tough questions, where is the border of drawing what is macharia and not? That has to be practically understood. Sometimes certain things, now even the person has a lot of things asking for a very little amount. The person may have an argument that I need these things and these things, but we have to be honest in this case. So if we have a habit of not liking to give or not enjoying in giving, and always have the habit of keeping things for ourselves, that looks like macharia. So therefore, what I want to convey through this story is that reluctance to give is not always macharia. Sometimes people may refuse when someone asks for something, or may not give certain things because of some other reasons as well. Then the opposite of macharia is danabhirati, delight in offering. Macharia is reluctance to see others taking benefit out of the things that belongs to you. Dhanabhirata is, you can say Dhanabhirati, okay, is finding delight in donations. So this is an opposing factor. And Dhanabhirati is very important in our practice of Dana Parami, because we naturally tend to yield stinginess. We like to possess stinginess. What does it mean? We always like to keep the things as mine for ourselves and to enjoy their possession. We are against of giving things. That's natural for all of us, because if you even look at a small child, most of them, they want to keep their toys for themselves. They don't like even other children enjoying from their toys. Not only giving, they don't like even someone is playing with their toys. This is how the macharia starts to grow in ourselves. It's an inherited quality that we all possess. And we find it enjoying possessing things rather than giving up. But some beings who are capable of seeing this meanness of macharia, the lowness of macharia, and the exalted nature or the sublime nature of giving or giving up or sacrifice or giving things for others, dedicating things for the benefit of others, they seen the benefits of giving and disadvantages of macharia. They are capable of suppressing it and involved in donations. While you keep on giving donations, the person starts to see how it benefits others. And we starts to get some undefiled happiness within ourselves. That undefiled happiness, niramisapiti. It's a wholesome joy. We start to enjoy wholesome joy, have wholesome joy. And then what happens? Our mind starts to incline towards donations. And we get addicted in donations. Some people get addicted in donations. That it is called Dhanabhirati, finding delight in donations. In order to get delight in donations, most of the people, even the donors, don't have this delight. Delight means they are constantly involved in donations. Their mind, like they feel happy in giving and seeing how others enjoy it, how others benefit out of it. That was one of the greatest characteristics of Bodhisattva's life. Dhanabhirati. So, you have to suppress macharia by seeing its disadvantages and benefits of donation and get involved in donations. While you are making donations, you get joy, piti, happiness, and this makes you to indulge in giving, and eventually your mind starts to delight in donations. That delight, that attachment means don't take it in a negative sense, that delight in donations is called Dhanabhirati. Yeah, so when Dhanabhirati is developed, the person is more delighted in donations. Then what happens? When constantly involving in donations, he develops a certain potency within him, which is an inclination towards donations, which is a very deeper state than the mind actually. You can say it as a habit. A habitual potency will grow in the person that would transfer from life to lives. And in samsara, the person becomes more generous. A person who has developed this quality of inclination towards donations is an actual person who is generous. This inclination is called dana ajhasaya. I'll repeat the term, dana ajhasaya or dana ajhasaya. You combine them, dana ajhasaya or dana ajhasaya. We can call it a disposition of the mind, a readiness of the mind to offer things. So that mind is always inclined or naturally bending towards this donating of things. So dhanajasya is developed by constantly involving in donations with dana birati while delighting in donations. It's a completely opposing factor of macharia. Right. So Sotapannas have fully, normally at the stage of Sotapannahood, we eradicate macharia. Macharia is gone, Sotapanna level. So he is always ready to give donations. He's ready means he is always ready, and also he has no obstacle in giving donations, obstacles to donating donations. So normally he finds, the person Sotapanna, he or she finds delight in donations. A Sotapanna person is naturally a person who is suitable to be approached for asking something. For example, if in need of something, we are not going to go and ask a stingy, if we know if the person is stingy, we are not going to ask from him, right? Obviously, we are not going to do that because we find it very, very embarrassing when you ask for something and the person rejects it. Yeah, we find it very embarrassing. So we only approach a person who is ready and who is happy in donating. And also the person starts to enjoy in giving up. A delight in donating is completely opposed to delight in possession. And then he is always ready to offer, and whenever something is offered, the person doesn't harbor or keep any expectation of the requisite or expecting any benefit out of the donations. For example, sometimes we offer things thinking that if I offer this person will be obedient to me, or this person will vote for me in the elections, for example. So these kind of donations are not very pure ones because we have an agenda behind it. It's a strategically tactic that we are doing. It's still a donation. I would say that it's still a donation, but we have some expectations of it. So a person who offers things with real dana birati and who has suppressed or eradicated macharia strongly is ready to donate all the time. He is a person who can be approached at any time asking, and he finds delight in giving up, donating, and also whenever he or she offers it, the person doesn't keep any expectations about the requisite, about the thing that was being offered, or any benefits out through that donation. Worldly benefit, I would say, in this life. There's a nice story how Sotapannas are involved in donations. When the Buddha was alive, one pot maker, while Buddha was in Savatthi actually, invited monks saying, if you need any arm balls, please ask from me. And monks were asking, and they exceeded the limit, and they were asking excessively. The potter was unable to support himself or his family because he couldn't sell the balls. He was giving it to monks for free, right? And that person was a Sotapanna actually. So the monks didn't know the limit, and they kept on asking from the donor, from the potter. The commentary says, had he not been a Sotapanna, he would have given up the religion and gone to another religion. That much monks asked. So then, having known this, people tried to criticize the monks. Why they are asking so much and he is unable to support his family? And then having heard this, Buddha said, no, you cannot ask for balls from others. So then what happened? Because of this rule, even when the bowls were broken, monks went for alms round with broken bowls and also with their hands because they couldn't use the bowls. So seeing this, the people said, oh, these monks are going for Pindapata like other ascetics, like Nigantas are collecting the food to their arms. Seems very not nice actually. Then knowing this, Buddha said, yes, you can ask from others a bowl when there is a scratch or when the bowl is broken. Then what happened? Chabbagya monks, the bad ones in the sasana, even due to a smaller scratch, without amending it, they discarded their bowls and asked for new bowls from the same potter. And he was unable to support his family because he was giving bowls to the monks, and the same situation arose. So then, as a result, Buddha laid down a rule. Yes, you can ask for bowls if there are at least 5 cracks or more than that in a bowl, in your bowl. So that was the rule laid down. So what I wanted to say was, this person was a Sotapanna. When a Sotapanna is involved in donations, sometimes he doesn't even think about himself or his family. He is so enlightened, delighted in donating, especially to the Sangha. And this story shows that when you eradicate macharia, sometimes you may not know the limits of donation in some cases. Like the person will be fully dedicated to donate things to others, even without considering his life or his family's life. I don't know how much you can praise this quality when it comes to the family, but that's a story that is recorded in our sasana. So since there's no stinginess, they keep on, they feel like donating, and they feel the benefits of donations rather than seeing the enjoying the life in this, enjoying the world in this life. So they are more delight in donating. So it's another story that gives you more picture about donations. They couldn't ask for balls. They couldn't ask for balls, and so when the balls were broken, without asking for new ones, they went for pindapata with their palms, like collecting food to their hands. And then people started to criticize them because that was not the custom of Buddhist monks. Buddhist monks used to carry a bowl. Other ascetics, other religious people used to collect the food to their arms, which was not very nice. So when this criticism was made, Buddha amended the rules, saying that yes, when there is a scratch, you can ask for a bowl. But what happened was, some monks, even due to the slightest crack, without trying to amend it, they abandoned their bowls and asked for new bowls from the same potter. Right? So then, okay, right. Yeah, so this is the story, and I will conclude the talk. And because when you are fulfilling dana parami, we must develop this dana abhirati and suppress the macharia. So these are completely opposing factors to each other. There is another concept of which called kadariyata and dana anumodana, which I will be talking in the next lecture, next talk. Kadariyata is, macharia is the person doesn't like to give his stuff. Kadariyata is an extreme form of macharia, which doesn't like others giving to others. So it's a very high form of macharia, and there's a very dangerous vipaka of that. Dana anumodana, on the other hand, is enjoying or being rejoicing on others' donations. So these are the 2 other forms that we would like to discuss later on. So for today, that would be the talk. And when we are fulfilling dana parami, we need to bring our mind to dana abhirati, in delighting of the donations. So, but we can do it by seeing the benefits of the donations and also seeing the disadvantages of not giving. I have talked about all these benefits in previous talks, so I am not going to put much emphasis on them in this talk. So I wish you all the best, and may you be able to fulfill your dana parami in the level of dana abhirati.
Bante, first question, Bante. From sister or brother Upalawana. Namo Buddhaya Wandami Bante. There is Bhikku who says that beginning when we buy something can destroy the adina dana precepts because it is considered theft. Because it is like stealing. For Bhikku it can cause paragita, and for lay people it can destroy the precepts. Can Bante explain in more details about the gaming? Is it considered theft? I can understand if someone uses violence or patience, but the question is if we begin by talking nicely and the seller is also willing to give such a price. Is that considered that? Anumodami Bhakti, sisian boleh diterjemahkan?
Yeah, first of all, I think with the name of the questioner, it seems it should be she, because Uppalavanna is a female name. I think it should be a Seale or a sister, because Uppalavanna is a female name. Uppalavanna. So, first of all, this question, now if someone is saying bargaining is theft, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because for us monks, bargaining is a dukkata offense. It's not a parajika. It's very clearly mentioned in the commentaries. If you bargain, you are committing a very, very minor offense. It's an offense. Still, it's an offense. We cannot bargain. So when the price is too high, we can say, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not in use of it. That's what normally we say. And we say the person to go away. And if he lowers his price, yes, then we can get it through our kapya. But monk should not be involved in bargaining, and it's caused a dukkata offense. But bargaining is never a theft, because you are not, if you forcefully, as the questioner has asked very clearly, if you forcefully reduce the price and give the person a very lower price and get the thing, that's theft. Or either you cheat the person. I'll give you a very nice story, a funny story actually. A hunter was coming to the city to sell a deer and a doe actually, a female deer, right? A doe and a calf deer, a small deer, right? So he was taking two, mother and the calf. And he met with a drunkard. Drunkard means who is addicted to alcohol. And this person asked the hunter, how much is the mother? He said 2 coins. How much is the calf? 1 coin. Then he said, okay, give me the calf. He gave 1 coin and took the calf. And he went away. So after going for some distance, he returned back and called the hunter, wait. I already gave you 1 coin, and this calf is 1 coin valuable of 1 coin. If I return you this calf to you, I've already given you 1 coin, and I'm giving you this calf who is worthy another coin. So that means I'm giving you 2 coins, so I should be able to get the mother. And the hunter couldn't understand the logic behind it. And he took the calf and gave the mother. And ended up having 1 coin and selling the mother. This was pure cheating, because the drunkard understood the hunter was not very intelligent. I think you understand the point here. So therefore, if you do that, yes, it's obviously cheating. It's obviously theft. And this is called paticchannavahara. Like you do something cheating the person. If my memory was correct, okay, paticchannavahara, if my memory was correct. So therefore, bargaining is obviously not a theft for the layperson, it's not parajika for the monk. Very clear. It's only a dukkata offense, because the owner of the material is agreeing to reduce the price. That's the point. And we do it happily. And it's not suitable for monks. That's a different case. But it's not a theft.
Next question, Bante. Wandami Bante, question from Brother John Marley. I have a question about Arahata Upalawana, that who get red when she was meditating alone in forest. Isn't Buddha as have all knowledge and can know what will happen? Does Buddha doesn't know what will happen to Arahata Upalawana? Why didn't Buddha prevent it from happening, or Buddha know this will happen and it will become basic reasons for determining Vinaya Viyana for this group. Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu.
Buddha is omniscient, but it doesn't mean that he will always check what is going to happen to everyone. There are instances in which, for example, I'll give you a small example on this. Once he went into a village and he didn't get the food inside. There's a commentary asks, didn't he know that already that he's not going to get food from this village? Because he has not thought about it. Had he thought, he would have known that he's not going to get food. So sometimes they are not always like, it's not that he's always observing the world, what is going to happen and what is happening in the world. That's not what he does. Even the one who possesses that capacity. For example, even if we know what is going to happen or in our kuti all the time, we are not going to check always, right? So therefore, it's not that he is always observing the world and observing what is going to happen and what is happening. And even though he would have seen, sometimes there was no option of him to stop it. That is also another possibility. If it was something that was unpreventable due to a past karma or whatever, it's not mentioned that what happened was due to a past karma, it's not mentioned. And it's very difficult for us to judge what the Buddha does and what he didn't do. It's a very tough question to ask. Why didn't he do that? It's a very tough question to answer. Then many questions can be asked. Why didn't he save the Mahadana Setti who had the potential to become Arahant and ended up in the hells? Why didn't he go and support him? Or why didn't he try to stop Ajatasattu from killing his father? So that's not how we should be asking questions, because he is also a human actually. He is living in this world. He has the capacity to see things. And another thing is, the future is not already determined. So things can happen out of a sudden. That's also possible. And Nanda Manavaka, who raped her, was planning for that. So surely Buddha would have understood that what is going to happen, the outcome, because he was plotting to rape her. But anyway, he hasn't taken any measures to stop it. Maybe he didn't check it, or maybe even he had seen it, he didn't have the capacity to stop it, and or sometimes it was not destined and out of a sudden it happened. Is also another possibility. And so it's very difficult to answer the question why. The question, it's quite easy. Like, quite easy means sometimes it's possible for us to answer why he did that. It's a very tough one to answer why he didn't do that, because there can be many reasons that he didn't do that. So yes, he doesn't always check what is going to happen in future. There are instances that is mentioned in the literature. And the next thing is, future is not determined, right? So if future is determined, you'll be able to see everything, and there's no purpose of life then. So things can happen out of a sudden. Things could change and situations could completely change, and therefore, so I'm unable to give you an exact answer for that, because not only Uppalavanna's case, there are many cases that people can ask, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do this? So it's very, very, very tough to answer that question actually.
Bhante, there is no more question, Bhante. The session has ended. Thank you for explanation and modern.
So may this merit we'll share with the deceased ones and the deities, all the beings, and may this merit be a help for us to attain the Nibbana. So, Ittavataca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodanto sabbe bhuta anumodanto sabbe satta anumodanto sabba sampatti siddhya idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me punya kammang idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idam me punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantitthato. Buddha sasanang chirantitthato. Buddha sasanang chirantitthato. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.